It's BenImparts here, back at you with episode number 25 of this Cryptid cast series, where I break down cryptids, their sightings, their possibilities, if they're real or not, and what they could be. And today we have a real treat of a cryptid. We have one that is unambiguously not a spirit, does not exist in another dimension. It's a real, physical, flesh and blood cryptid. And today we have the Ennedi tiger. The Ennedi tiger, Ennedi mountain tiger, or much more commonly, the Tigre des Montagnes, French for tiger of the mountains, is a cryptid alleged to be a sabre-toothed cat, which has been reported multiple times from Chad's Ennedi Plateau, from which it gets its name, but also from the Tibesti Mountains and Guerra Massif. Furthermore, it's been reported from the Bongo Massif in the Central African Republic, as well as the Imatong Mountains in Uganda and South Sudan. It has various other names such as Biskoro, Kojinga, Gasingram, Hajil, Nisi, Noso and Vasoko. And the fascinating thing, like I said before, is that all these names are used in different regions. You have the Kojinga, the red cat or dangerous cat from the Massif des Bongos, the Gasingram from the Central African Republic, the Yasso from the Wadai Highlands in Chad, the Imatong tiger from the Imatong Mountains in South Sudan, just to name a very small few. The description of the Ennedi tiger varies greatly between different tribes and peoples. Everyone says it's approximately the size of a horse, definitely bigger than a lion, lives in caves and is nocturnal, has reddish-orange fur and hunts, but there are some differences. The Gasingram and Vasoko have very powerful glowing eyes, and the Hajil allegedly has mane, much like a lion. Some people say they're very strong, since stories of the Vasoko claim it carries its prey hoisted on its back, but the Hajarai people claim the Hajil only takes small prey, since it has huge teeth that cause it discomfort otherwise. Some traditions even go further, claiming the Nisi kills but doesn't eat small animals like goats and chickens, and might in fact be draining their blood. Some traditions claim it has front legs larger and more powerful than its back legs, and the traditions of the Vakaga region claim it's followed by clouds of butterflies. Obviously, these people could be seeing different variations of the same creature, or even different species of it. And in fact, there are said to be different species, including one that dwells in water. The water lion, as it's often called in the Congo and Central African Republic, hunts and dwells mainly in water, and is said to be approximately 10 or 11 feet long, has a darker shade of fur, has a long tail, possibly for navigation, but also has white marks and fangs, and unlike the regular Ennedi tiger of the mountains, is volatile and territorial. In some traditions, even hunting these creatures is hard, because the Vasoko's legs and paws actually brush away the tracks it leaves. Some species, however, do leave tracks, because the Gasingram is said to leave tracks larger than those of a lion. As to the identification of the Ennedi tiger, this has been fairly straightforward. When famed cryptozoologist Christian Lenoel showed drawings of tigers, cheetahs, snow leopards, mountain lions and the Smilodon, or saber-toothed tiger, to local Ulus, they immediately selected the Smilodon, and added to that, the description makes it fairly obvious. It's interesting, because there's never been any proof that the Smilodon was ever in Africa in the past, but that's actually not a deal breaker at all, because a lot of other saber-toothed cats, such as the Meganteron and the Macarodus, were in Africa. Another famed cryptid, Bernard Heuvelmans, studied the case, and thinks it's a species of saber-toothed tiger that took up residence in mountains and caves, and in the water lion's case rivers, to avoid scavengers taking its food, since its double fangs mean it eats slowly and can't afford that, which is why the Ennedi tiger, or at least many species of it, carry their prey on their backs. And as regard the sightings, there are a couple of very, very plausible ones, such as this one I'll narrate here. In 1959, some workers working on farmland in the Akoli Hills, around the western Imatong Mountains that straddle South Sudan and Africa, told Western visitor J.K. Jackson they'd seen a creature, which is really remarkable, as he narrated himself. Some labourers working high in the Akoli Hills clearing fire lines came to me with a tale of having seen a large animal, bigger than a lion and very broad. Its head was large, with a pointed muzzle, and a black mouth with long canine teeth. The general colour was brownish, with vertical yellowish-white stripes on its flanks. It left an elongated footprint, the size and shape of the small boy, but with claws. The beast was quite unknown to them, and they were very scared of it. And it doesn't end there. In 1970, the famed cryptozoologist Christian Lenoel, the very same, showed his trackers pictures of all kinds of cats, living and dead, and they immediately, of course, chose the Smilodon, or saber-toothed tiger, then told him of their own encounter. To convince me, they took me to a rock shelter cave, where, according to them, there was a mountain tiger about 30 years ago. My first tracker, Jemmy, affirmed to me that he'd seen it with his father during a hunting party in the hills of Mele. He and his father had managed to kill a horse antelope, about 300 kilograms, and at the time of the skinning, a mountain tiger had emerged from the bush to seize the trophy and had won without apparent effort, in front of both terrified and dumbfounded hunters who had not asked for the rest, and had returned empty-handed to the village. And the explorer had his own proof of this, because a year before, in 1969, when he was approaching a big cave in Wanda Jale, he heard what he described as a terrible roar, which he couldn't identify, coming from the cavern. His tracker immediately told him it was the Ennedi tiger, and was so terrified he absolutely, as told in Carl Schucker's Mystery Catch of the World Revisited, refused to go in any closer. These are all absolutely fascinating sightings and encounters, and in my opinion, definitely can't be explained by spiritual creatures nor misconceptions. This is a real physical cryptid which hunts and feeds. Bernard Heuvelmans even thinks that the water lions are another physical species like this, which have adapted to a water habitat to avoid other predators, and may even dig up shellfish with their teeth. And what's more, I agree with him that both the mountain-living and water-living species of Ennedi tiger fill up the ecological niche that bears would otherwise have filled up, as he describes in his book, Still Unknown Cats of Africa. I think that the same role that bears play in America, the Ennedi tiger plays in Africa. I think that God creates a beautiful natural cycle of predator, prey, insect and plant. And each animal, in different places around the globe, has an equivalent. I know that a lot of you don't believe in God, but I do, and that's what I believe. But what do you guys think? Has anyone seen this cryptid? Does anyone know someone who has, or does anyone live in the area below? Please post those stories in the comments. I love reading them and seeing if I can translate them into stories or narrations of my own. I really thank you for watching, and stay tuned for episode 26.